I was one of the Native American children, adopted at birth and removed from our country's Indian reservation system. I was raised in a small middle-class farming community, but was never told of my true American Indian heritage. It was still taboo back in those early days. The years passed, and in 1987 I lost both parents. While going through their personal belongings, my wife discovered my adoption papers and she began a search. 5 years later, I was reunited with my biological Lakota family, living on the Lower Brule Sioux Indian Reservation of South Dakota. I am a son of two mothers and a product of two worlds that had collided, but I have an equal amount of love and pride for both. I'm Paul LaRush, and the stories you are about to see are an attempt to share this true American story of a hidden heritage.
Welcome to Hidden Heritage, where we share the untold stories and rich cultural traditions of Native America. I'm your host, Paul LaRush. Over the years, I have had a lot of people ask me where the name Brule came from and what it means. Well, it's a French word that means burnt, like creme brulee, and it's also the name of my American Indian tribe. Today, we're going to talk about a topic close to my heart, my own tribe, the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe of South Dakota. The story of the Lower Brule Tribe is one of resilience, connection to the land, and cultural preservation. In this episode, I want to take you on a journey through the history, traditions, and modern-day life of the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe, a people who have held on to their identity and strength despite the many challenges they've faced. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe is one of the 7 bands of the Lakota or Sioux people. Our band's name, Lower Brule, comes from the French word brûler, meaning burnt. But we call ourselves the Sikanju Lakota, known as Sikanju Oyate in Lakota, which translates to burnt thighs people. Learning the meaning of their name, the French call them the brûlés, also meaning burnt. The name is believed to have been derived from an incident where the young warriors were fleeing through a grass fire on the plains, carrying out women, children, and elders. Many Sikanju people live on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in southwestern South Dakota and are enrolled in the federally recognized Rosebud Sioux Tribe, also known in Lakota as the Sikanju Oyate. A smaller population moved to the West Bank on the Missouri River in central South Dakota and became known as the Lower Brule Indian Reservation. And some moved onto the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, also in South Dakota, directly west of the Rosebud Indian Reservation. The different federally recognized tribes are politically independent of each other. The Lower Brule Indian Reservation occupies an area of more than 400 square miles on the west side of the Missouri River Valley and in the uplands that roll westward from the Missouri River towards the Black Hills. The construction of the dams along the Missouri River in the 50s and 60s flooded about 35 square miles of the tribe's prime forests, hunting, fishing and gathering grounds, agricultural lands, and settlements, creating the Lake Sharp and Lake Francis Case reservoirs. Not knowing about the dams and the loss of the reservation lands, upon my arrival, my brother took me out along the Missouri River one day and pointed to a place out along the riverbanks. He said, down along the river there under the water, where you see the tree trunks kind of sticking out, that is where your grandparents used to live. It took me a while to appreciate and understand the full impact of what he had told me, but I came to realize how devastating it was when the dams were built along the river and what the loss of that land meant to the Lakota people. Some of the notable Lower Brule people include Bob Barker, the game show host, Pappy Boyington, the World War II Marine Corps fighter ace, Leonard Crow Dog, spiritual leader, actors Michael and Eddie Spears, and of course our group Brule. From 1815 to 1894, Chief Iron Nation led the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe through some of its most challenging years. He worked diligently both as a warrior and statesman to ensure the survival of his people. Iron Nation signed the treaty to establish the Great Sioux Reservation in 1868. He has been described as a just and noble leader. Historically, the Lakota people roamed the Great Plains, following the buffalo herds that sustained their ancestors for generations. The Lower Brule Band settled along the Missouri River, where they found rich resources in the land and waters. This area has been their home for centuries, long before the arrival of Europeans. However, as with many indigenous tribes, the arrival of settlers brought great change and conflict. The U.S. government signed treaties with the Sioux, promising to protect their lands, but those treaties were often broken. The most significant event that reshaped the Sicanju Lakota tribe was the signing of the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty. This treaty established the Great Sioux Reservation, which included much of the western half of South Dakota. But this wasn't to last. After the discovery of gold in the Black Hills, the U.S. government seized much of our territory. The Lower Brule Sioux were eventually forced onto the smaller reservation, where they still live today along the banks of the Missouri River. I have shared the story of my discovering my heritage at age 38 and the reunion many times over the years. One of the things that I mention occasionally is the first impression the reservation made upon our arrival in 1993. As we traveled west along I-90, we crossed the Missouri River at Chamberlain, South Dakota, a point where the landscape changes from flat farmland to a magnificent series of gentle rolling hills. As we crossed the eastern border of the reservation, the sign read, "Now entering the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe." The landscape looked like something out of the movie Dances with Wolves. It was breathtaking as we came over the crest of a large hill and saw the vast expanse of the Missouri River spanning from horizon to horizon. Then we saw the small town of Lower Brule, tucked quietly in the valley below, along the banks of the Missouri River. I remember as we pulled into the small village, we passed a small group of young locals riding horseback along the gravel road with their hair flowing in the wind. Our kids looked up and said, "Hey, Dad, look, real Indians." I said, "Yep, could be your cousins." We were overwhelmed with emotions. I can still remember that feeling to this day. Despite the hardships, the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe has maintained a deep connection to their traditional ways of life. Their cultural identity is rooted in their spiritual beliefs, ceremonies, and language. Lakota spirituality is at the core of who they are. Wakantanka, or the Creator, is present in all aspects of their life. Their connection to the natural world is profound, and many of their ceremonies reflect that. For example, the sun dance, an important ceremony of renewal and sacrifice, is still practiced to this day. It's a time of prayer, healing, and strengthening their relationship with the Creator. The annual powwow is a social event that has no equal in the outside world. It's part summer celebration, part church social, and part return to the traditional ways of life, including dance, song, and many times giveaway ceremonies. The Lakota language is another cornerstone of their identity. For years, the language was suppressed by government policies, but today there is a revival, with efforts to teach Lakota in schools and within families. Language carries not just words, but a way of seeing the world and recording history. Preserving the Lakota language is a key part of maintaining their heritage. Storytelling has always been a vital way of passing down knowledge and wisdom in the Lakota culture. Elders share lessons from the past, stories of creation, and tales of their ancestors' strength and wisdom. This oral tradition continues today, reminding us where we came from and who we are. Many of the songs from our group Brule have been inspired by the passing of traditional stories along from the elders. Other songs have been inspired by attending traditional ceremonies such as the Sweat Lodge and Vision Quest. We have even been given the blessing to use traditional instruments in our contemporary show, such as the traditional drum and flute. This permission came only by following special rituals such as tobacco offerings, special prayers, and following the traditional protocol while on the road. Here's an example of one such song using the traditional elements. Today, the Lower Brule Reservation is home to about 1,300 people. It's a place where modern life intersects with traditional values. Like many American Indian communities, we face challenges. But we also have a strong sense of community and a commitment to improving the lives of our people. Economic development has been a focus for the tribe in recent years. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe has invested in agriculture, ranching, and tourism, including the management of tribal bison herds. These initiatives not only provide jobs for tribal members, but also help reclaim some of the self-sufficiency that was lost after years of dependency on federal programs. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe also operates the Golden Buffalo Casino, which brings visitors to the reservation and provides economic resources for tribal programs. Proceeds from the casino help fund health care, education, and social services on the reservation, shattering the myth that all American Indian tribal members get rich off per capita money payments from their casinos. However, like many tribes, we continue to face issues of poverty, health disparities, and limited access to education. The trauma of historical injustices still lingers, but we are determined to rebuild, focusing on opportunities for our youth and the preservation of our culture. As we look toward the future, the story of the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe is one of perseverance and hope. Despite everything we've been through, from displacement to cultural suppressions, we continue to move forward, holding on to our traditions while adapting to a changing world. Much like we have done in the group Brule, combining the traditional with the contemporary to become part of the mainstream entertainment industry. As we enter the fourth decade of the group Brule, we have shifted our focus to the young generations. Part of our mission is to reach the reservation youth, to inspire them with a sense of pride and act as role models so the young generations can not only enter the mainstream entertainment industry, but continue to pioneer one of the last musical frontiers, the emergence of contemporary American Indian music. In recent years, there has been a resurgence in pride among our young people. Our youth are reconnecting with Lakota traditions, learning the language, participating in ceremonies, and gaining knowledge of the land. Education is a key priority, and we are working to ensure that the next generation has the tools they need to thrive. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe is also dedicated to protecting our environment. Water rights and land stewardship are ongoing concerns, particularly with the Missouri River running through our lands. Our ancestors cared for these lands long before us, and we honor that responsibility to this day. Some of the tribe's attractions include the Native American Scenic Byway that crosses the Lower Brule Reservation. Following the Missouri River, this route provides beautiful panoramic views from the tops of the river bluffs and views of rolling hills as they descend into the fertile land of the river bottom. Along the route and north of the small town of Lower Brule is the Big Bend of the Missouri River and the location of the tribe's Narrows Historical Interpretive Area, a scenic byway facility. The Big Bend is the largest natural meandering loop in any river system in the United States. It features a narrow neck of land formed around a chain of hills approximately 1.5 miles wide. These hills forced the Missouri River to meander 30 miles in order to continue its flow southward. This natural landmark was widely known by the indigenous people of North America who lived and traded for thousands of years in and along the Missouri River basin. In more recent history, this area became a landmark for fur trappers, frontiersmen, and military personnel. The tribe maintains a herd of bison in 3 ranges covering approximately 6,200 acres. One of these preserves, called the Big Game Unit, is located near the town of Lower Brule and is also home to about 200 elk. The Lower Brule Department of Wildlife, Fish, and Recreation is located about 3 miles north of the town of Lower Brule. Surrounded by the tribe's bison and elk range, the wildlife facility offers a unique interpretive exhibit and displays of area wildlife, native trees, plants, and grasses. The Lower Brule Tribal Administration Building is a state-of-the-art facility that symbolizes revitalized growth and economic development, while preserving the traditions and culture of the past. The tribe's Golden Buffalo Casino and Resort is located in the town of Lower Brule. It offers gaming, a restaurant, a small hotel, a convention center, and an RV park that's open year-round. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe is a sovereign nation defined by its government-to-government relationship with the United States. As part of the Great Sioux Nation, the tribe signed treaties in 1824 through 1868 with the federal government. This constitutes the legal documents that establish the boundaries and recognize the rights of sovereign tribal governments. Tribal affairs are conducted by a 6-member tribal council who are elected to serve 2-year terms. Council officers include the chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and 3 council members. The tribal council chairman serves as the chief executive officer and administrative head of the tribe. As part of the Pick-Sloan Missouri River Basin Program, authorized by Congress in 1944 for flood control, 2 major dams and other flood control projects were built in this area by the federal government. It acquired property on the Lower Brule Indian Reservation for 2 dam projects, 8,000 acres of Indian land for the Fort Randall Dam project, and 15,000 acres for the Big Bend Dam project. In 1963, the Big Bend Dam on the Missouri River was completed by the Army Corps of Engineers. The operation of the dam caused flooding of the Lower Brule community and surrounding bottomlands in the heart of the reservation. The waters inundated miles of roadways and a significant amount of the most productive and fertile farmland of the reservation. It destroyed most of the reservation's native trees, shrubs, and medical plants, which were located chiefly along the river bottomlands. By public law, the Secretary of the Army was to provide mitigation for such damages, including replacing roads and facilities. The government failed to carry out its obligations under this agreement. In 1997, the federal government enacted the Lower Brule Infrastructure Development Trust Fund, an act that compensated for the lands and infrastructure loss due to the construction of the Big Bend Dam and flooding of the reservoir. The act was also intended to enable the tribe to share in the benefits of these projects. It provided for payments to the tribe of amounts beginning in 1998 and then annually until the total amount of $39.3 million had been accumulated in the trust fund. In response, the tribe created a plan for how it would use such funds for facilities and development to aid the tribe. It also established the Infrastructure Development Authority, a committee of tribal members who oversee the trust fund and recommend action and expenditures to the tribal council. Since establishment of the trust fund, the authority has supervised development of the administration building and community center located in Lower Brule. The authority is also overseeing the construction of the Lower Brule Justice Center. The reservation has approximately 200 miles of roads. These include about 107 miles of gravel roads, 65 miles of asphalt, 11 miles of graded dirt roads, and 10 miles of unimproved roads. The tribe operates a propane company and serves all residences within the reservation, as well as areas adjacent to the reservation. Unleaded and diesel fuel are available at local gas stations. Fuel oil is available from the nearest Farmers Union in Reliance, some 15 miles away. Lake Sharp serves as a virtually unlimited water source for the Lower Brule community. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe's Rural Water System, RWSS, supplies clean water to the communities of Lower Brule and West Brule for most domestic and agricultural use. This system is a part of the Mini-Waconey Water Project, authorized to provide water for the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, the Rosebud Reservation, the Lower Brule Reservation, and counties located in west central South Dakota. The tribe contracts with Indian Health Services to operate a tribal health department that oversees the tribal ambulance services and employs community health representatives. The Tribal Health Department provides examinations and eyeglasses to tribal members at reduced costs, as well as coordinating health delivery services. The Lower Brule IHS Service Unit operates a dental clinic, medical clinic, and conducts several outreach programs, which provide services to the members of the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe on a regular basis, and to anyone in an emergency. Full-service hospital facilities are available in the neighboring communities of Chamberlain and Pierre. The tribe's trust land base includes 156,917 acres. The estimated tribal enrollment, 3,410 members. The reservation covers about 400 square miles in Lyman and Stanley counties of central South Dakota. The Lower Brule Reservation population is approximately 1,660, and tribal membership is roughly 3,410. The Lower Brule Agency headquarters is located in the Lower Brule Tribal Administration Building, which is newly constructed in 2001. It's staffed with 15 permanent employees. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe is the largest employer on the reservation, operating many BIA and IHS programs, the Golden Buffalo Casino and Motel, Tribal Farm, Propane Plant, Popcorn Processing Plant, a construction company, and a very popular hunting enterprise. It's interesting to note that as of the year 2022, the tribe controls about 165,600 acres within a reservation that has a total of 258,500 acres. The other 92,900 acres belongs to non-Indian ranchers and farmers. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe is now offering fine upland game, big game, waterfowl, prairie dog, and predator hunting on their beautiful and scenic reservation. The reservation is abound with whitetail and mule deer, buffalo and elk, ringneck pheasant, prairie chickens, sharp-tailed grouse, ducks, geese, prairie dogs, and coyotes. There are few places in the U.S. that can match that variety of hunting offered by the Lower Brule Department of Wildlife, Fish, and Recreation. While many tribes are using casino profits to diversify their economies, this is not the case on the Lower Brule Reservation. The tribe does have a gaming enterprise, the Golden Buffalo Casino, but it began its agriculture business in 1977. Long before the Indian Gaming Act was even passed. So far, the tribal farm has provided $30 million in revenues to the tribe. That money has produced not only jobs, but also provided a steady income stream for the tribe and made it possible to buy back several thousand acres of homeland within the boundaries of the reservation. With 8,500 acres under irrigated cultivation, the tribe grows kidney, pinto, navy, and soybeans, yellow corn, and other crops, including popcorn, which is different from yellow corn because it must meet federal standards for human consumption. Popcorn farming uses between 2,000 and 4,000 acres of farmland and produces an average annual yield of about 17 million pounds. Popcorn has become a mainstay crop for the tribe for many years, with the Farm Corporation under contract to grow popcorn for large companies such as American Popcorn and ConAgra Foods, and selling raw popcorn to businesses as far away as Bulgaria. The Lower Brule Tribe still raises a lot of popcorn under contract, but in 2005, depressed commodity prices dropped sharply and bulk sales became far less profitable. The Tribal Council decided to explore a pilot program to clean and package popcorn in 1 and 2 pound bags for the retail market. The venture was successful enough for the tribe to invest in building its own cleaning, processing, and packaging facilities in order to increase the number of dollars that stayed with the tribe and to create job opportunities for tribal members. The Lower Brule Sioux Tribe's story is one of survival, cultural pride, and community strength. We are a people deeply connected to our past, but equally determined to shape our future. Through the preservation of our language, traditions, and environment, we honor our ancestors while paving the way for generations to come. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the history and heart of the Lower Brule Sioux Tribe of South Dakota. I encourage you to explore more about Native American culture and history, and remember that every tribe, like every family, has its own unique story to tell. Until next time, I'm Paul LaRush, and this is Hidden Heritage.